Rappin with ReefBum is sponsored by Champion Lighting and Supply, Polo Reef, and Fauna Marin.
Hey, what's happening, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Rappin with ReefBum. I'm your host, Keith Berkelhamer. Well, on tonight's live stream, I welcome back Andrew Sandler from Polo Reef. What's going on there, Andrew?
Hi, Keith. Hi, everybody.
Sorry for the delay, folks. We had a little trouble connecting tonight, but I think everything is now in order in terms of the sound, the video, and what have you. But for those that don't know Andrew, he has the famous 17,000-gallon reef tank in his home, plus many other incredible tanks, and he is the founder and CEO of Polo Reef. And we're going to talk a lot about the all the different projects that are going on with Andrew and his crew. But before we start chatting with Andrew, I want to take care of some business and thank the sponsors of the show. My sponsors are really important to me because they make this show possible with their support, and that means a lot since I want to continue to bring on awesome guests to help foster a learning environment on this show. Polo Reef, Andrew Sandler, thank you very much, is a sponsor. Really much appreciate that. Andrew, make sure to check out Polo Reef's new YouTube video that drops this Friday. In the 4th episode of the Polo Summer Relaxation Series, Polo Reef gives us a moment to relax to view of a stunning fish close-ups, highlighting the vast collection of rare and beautiful reef fish housed at Polo. Make sure to subscribe to their YouTube channel at Polo Reef for video drop notifications. Champion Lighting and Supply, besides being a place for hobbyists to purchase saltwater aquarium supplies online, Champion Lighting is also a wholesale distributor for many popular brands. If you own an aquarium store or an aquarium service company, contact Champion Lighting through their website at championlighting.com to set up a wholesale account. Todd and his crew will be at Reefstock Chattanooga on August 24th and 25th, so stop by and say hello. Third sponsor is Fauna Marin. I do use the Fauna Marin Reef ICP Total Test Kit, which gives a quick, accurate, and easy overview of over 90 water values in reef aquariums for macro elements, trace elements, and pollutants. You get a complete overview with corresponding dosage and action recommendations. I am now a certified Fauna Marin ICP test advisor, so if you want help interpreting the results, then select ReefBum. You can also purchase the ICP test kits as well as other Fauna Marin products at ReefBum.com. So Andrew, man, how's it going to Polo Reef? You got a lot going on there, man.
Not only do we have a lot going on, but I'm leaving Friday to Tahiti, where I'm going to be there for about 11 days, capturing some beautiful reef footage also with my family. And it's a long trip and a lot of hours away. So we're trying to get everything squared away before I leave Friday morning.
Well, so what exactly are you going to be doing? Are you going to be doing any diving, or are you going to, yep?
We're doing some diving. I'll be doing some snorkeling, but generally out on the water, looking at beautiful reef. Hopefully it's beautiful reef. It was the last time I was there. Probably the nicest clams in the world. We're going to 3 different places, and Patty gave me my camera case already, my dives case, and so hopefully we'll pick up some nice content.
Are you actually going to be able to pick out some corals that you collect and bring back home eventually, or no?
I don't think so.
It's not going to be in the cards?
I don't think so.
Well, yeah, I'm sure that's going to be a fantastic trip, but looking forward to seeing what happens in terms of the content you guys bring back. So let's get into the projects now. You know, when I talked about the video, you know, that I read in terms of the just before about the relaxation series. Talk to us about that, man. That's a really pretty incredible initiative that you guys have done. I'm not sure everybody is aware exactly what's behind that relaxation series.
So I guess I'll sort of break the news here. I'm on the board of a company who serves 22,000 pediatric cancer hospital kids, and we're going to be having these videos as well as 360 versions stitched together with the goggles.
Oh, wow.
And these kids in the hospitals will be doing chemotherapy, watching these programs and relaxing. And that's how it started. And we're doing them now on YouTube and filming them and so forth. But ultimately, we're going to have 4 videos. Some will be educational, some will be relaxation, and some will be 360, which requires quite a bit of post edit and a 360 camera and in the tank, and the kids love it.
So, Andrew, people are saying the audio it's making it tough to hear you. I wonder.
Let me see.
Yeah, maybe we could.
See if I take off. I'm going to take off my helmet over here. Hold on.
Let's see if that. Yeah, it could be the Bluetooth or something that's not behaving.
How about now? Way better.
Way better.
Way better.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So, all right. So that's an amazing thing. So, how many relaxation videos are going to be in that whole series?
There'll be 4 on 2D and 2 on 360. So there'll be like 6.
6. And did did you have any visitors also come over as part of that that initiative to check out the tank in person?
Oh yeah, to show us how to use and film 360 and where to put the camera in the tank and all that stuff.
Pretty cool, man. Well, all right, yeah. So, folks, if you haven't checked out those videos, then certainly do. Pretty incredible stuff. All right, man. Let's. I want to dig into this summer recap video that you did, because you highlighted pretty much all of your projects, I think, except for one, which was the clam tank, and we can get into to that whole thing. But let me show a picture, and I took some screen grabs from that that video about the drop down, the 900-gallon drop down tank, and I saw on Instagram right before we went on to the live stream that it's got a hell of a lot more corals in it now than it did when that video came out.
Oh yeah, quite a bit more. We actually added our first acro today.
Did you?
Yeah.
So that's been quite a story with that tank, right? I mean, the first drop down tank that you guys took delivery of actually broke, right? In transit.
Yes.
Man, that would be like my worst freaking nightmare. That's like the thing that I'm probably not going to be ordering any new tanks anytime soon, but all the custom tanks that I did order, and not nearly as customized and big.
iPad camera. They want me to clean my iPad.
It's a little foggy.
The 2 on the outside, and then is there one looking at me also?
I think that's a little bit better.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's better. So yeah, I mean, what was that like? I mean, how long did it take for them to have to rebuild that tank?
After about a month of trying to figure out whose fault it was.
Oh no!
And who was going to pay for it, and which insurance company, and so forth and so on. Planet rebuilt the tank from scratch, and it was probably another 8-9 months.
Yikes! Yeah, that sucks. That that's something you always got to wonder. I mean, with a tank like that, that's got to be something that is really pretty difficult to transport and make sure that it's not going to get busted up like that. So
yeah, they're very They are not easy. Obviously, the stand and the tank cannot leave each other. They need to be married and one. And it can't even have a lot of any slip where it, you know, comes off the stand just a little bit because the glass can break. So it's a big job. It's a big movement job, and we had to have it craned over the house.
Yeah, yeah. Well, now that it's in place, man, it looks pretty impressive. And what I was looking at on Instagram was pretty sweet. Looks like a lot of LPS are in the tank, and you said you've only got an acro in there, so it's off and running. What about lighting? What are you using in terms of lighting on that tank?
We went with 12 Illuma Magic 4Xs.
And have you been running those on any other tanks? What made you choose those?
When I had Rocky over, we were trying to determine why he won the frag contest, the growth contest. And I know his water, and I know my water, and I figured the only thing that it could be, what were those lights? So I got them too now.
Well, there you go. There you go. What talk us through in terms of the you know, bringing that tank to life, in terms of starting it, the cycling part of it. Did you guys have ugly stages with that tank? How did you get it going?
Yeah, we dry Marco rock, a lot of cement, a glue accelerator, you know, that whole thing. Throw the sand on it.
Yeah.
It's the old top shelf method.
Yep.
And we had let's see, I got red planaria upstairs that's connected to it. And we nuked that with potassium chloride.
Yep.
Then we got dinos. Yes, we got some dinos. They were I forgot the kind. They were not as toxic as the other kind in the other tank, but it took a little while to get rid of them. We went 3 nights lights out. We put UV in. We started feeding diatom phyto strains. We got sand in for the silicates. And sure enough, and we put new live rock in for the biome.
Yeah.
Tons of turbo snails. And sure enough, it went away.
So that was was that the free floating variety? So it wasn't the nasty stuff that resides in the rock and the sand and all that. That stuff is like really pesky.
No, there's the osteo stuff,
Yeah.
and then we had that in the 280s. That's really nasty and pretty easy to get rid of. This was the other one. The other brown one,
yeah.
But you know, it stayed on just a little part of the time, and we don't really see it anymore.
So what do you guys believe in at Polo in terms of starting a tank? Do you believe, you know, after the tank is cycled, do you think that you know, fish should be a part of that cycling process, or do you think coral should be going in there first and then fish later? And how did you handle that with this drop down?
Well, in this case, we take the water from the 17,000.
Oh.
Okay, so the water's ready to go, and there is live rock in there. We don't just use dead rock. So we actually will put corals in and new fish in at the same time.
Okay.
When they're ready to be quarantined. These fish that are in here now actually never received meds. They were Bally Aquaculture purples and things like that. But we watched them for about a month, and I had Alex, the reef vet, scrape them every week, and they had 3 negatives, and they went in.
I'm actually going to have Alex on the live stream in a few weeks, so looking forward to tapping into his expertise. All right, man. So let's switch to the pair of 280s. That so I'm going to show this picture of one of the 280s, which is a new tank. And that's the one that replaced, one of these replaced the busted marine land tank. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So you got 2 custom tanks to kind of like replace that one busted marine land tank?
Right.
What, so this is this a custom 280 gallon tank? You got twin custom tanks?
Yes. I got twins, and Planet built us the drop down, and Joe at Glass Cages built us these twins.
So what features do they have in terms of the the customizable stuff? Is it Euro bracing, Starfire, external overflows, all that fun stuff?
Yes, all that fun stuff.
Okay. And so I see it's predominantly acros in that one tank. What about the other 280? What's the plans for that one?
That one is we actually took a coral from there and put it in the 900 drop down because it was too nice. But it's going to be predominantly SPS, Chalice, Reef Labs. The difference will be one will be Halide, 400 watt, 2 400 watt, radium 20K, with supplemental bars and T5s, and the other one will be all LEDs, 2 glows, 1 grow, and 4 radions, and they're right next to each other and quite different.
That's a lot of light. So what do you guys getting par wise in that tank with the acros?
With the halides or the LEDs?
Well, combined. I mean, are you running them at the same time, or are they kind of cycling on and off?
No, they're the same time. We're getting like mid-5s on the halide. And on the LED system, we're sort of going between 350 and 4 1/4.
Yeah. So bare bottom too with that tank, huh?
Yeah.
Is that something that you really like to do with an SPS dominant tank? Just go with bare bottom because of the flow?
Especially if it's painted white already, and especially if it's not in a room that needs company all the time. So the lab goes bare bottom.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I like the bare bottom tanks. I used to do sand, but I think it's less maintenance and less to worry about. I do miss the wrasses though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of the fish we need to start getting in this 900 now. We have sand in it. And before I order wrasses, I need to order the lids, because they be doing some jumping. And the cabinetry won't be ready on time to hide this all in. So I'm going to make myself some lids. Yeah, we're going to make this 900-gallon drop down anthias and wrasse heavy.
Nice. How often do you cycle through anthias? I know in the 17,000-gallon tank you got a whole bunch of anthias in there. Is that a fish that you are replacing a lot? I mean, do you have a lot of lartail anthias? I know those are the hardier ones.
Yeah, we have a lot of those. We have Pectilis, we have Randalls, we have Evans Eyes, we have the three belted kind.
Yep.
3 belt. we have Cooperi, we have Evans Eye. What's the one that look like with a B, like Evans Eye?
Oh,
Bartlett's.
yep.
Bartlett's. And we have a few others around the house. But we have to decide what to do in the 900. And the 900, I think we wanted to keep it on the smaller side. So we're probably going to do Bartlett's, Evans Eye, and probably Purple Queens.
Ooh, love Purple Queens. Those are hard ones to keep.
Yes, sir. That's a job from when I get home from Tahiti.
You know, Greg Carroll, I had him on the live stream, and he talks about, you know, certain anthias as rentals. Are those considered rentals?
You rent them until they survive for you, right?
Yeah.
The key is feeding, and feeding a lot, and getting them to the food, because they're not as aggressive as the other anthias. Their eyes are very small, so the feeding has to be done very small and very often, while you prevent uranemia. Those are your two goals.
I was going to ask you, like, what are best practices for feeding anthias and keeping anthias healthy and happy? You know, the type of food. I mean, obviously feeding them as often as possible.
Yeah, we do it in like an IV bag that drips.
Oh, really?
Yeah, or a bottle that like literally bobs up and down and releases it in the waves. The cyclopes, the ROE eggs, the Calanus. And then if that doesn't work, we hatch baby brine shrimp.
That's a lot of work, you know, but they're gorgeous fish. So I absolutely think it's worth all that work. But people should know what they're getting into with a lot of different varieties of anthias. That they are gorgeous. I've really only had luck keeping the laurel tail anthias, but I have not done anything special in terms of feeding, and I tried Purple Queens like a long time ago, and that didn't work out too well. But
yeah, did you get them through quarantine?
No, I forgot how.
You couldn't get them out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough. They really get uranemia in these things, and you start showing like blood bruises, and by the time they have that, it's usually over.
What about ventralis anthias? Those things, like, I remember they came into the hobby a number of years ago, and they were like all the rage, but nobody could keep them alive. I think they needed a little bit cooler water or something like that. Are those still around?
Yeah, 72 to 74. Also not a favorite of copper. I would not put meds in. I would treat them and literally watch them. Maybe I'd put them in a formalin bath, but that's it.
What I mean, just in terms of continuing on this topic, in terms of fish, what have you seen, Andrew, over the years? I know things changed a lot with COVID in terms of being able to get fish and the availability of fish, the price of fish. I know went way up. What would you say your assessment is at this point in time in terms of fish? Is there any light at the end of the tunnel? Are the captive bred fish the real wave of the future? I mean, they're going to be more expensive because there's a lot more work involved. What are you seeing in terms of fish and purchasing fish from reputable dealers?
I mean, I just purchased 3 captive bred baby purples from Valley Aquaculture. I just did actually they're coming tomorrow. I just did 3 or 4 yerples from them also. But we're bringing in 3 blacks, which are wild, of the same size, and they're going to have to go through real quarantine. So I think it depends. And I think the ones that are captive bred, you can get away with not treating with heavy duty copper. Maybe do a few baths, do some skin scrapes under the microscope. Once it's a wild fish, it goes through the ringer, right?
Yeah.
It's copper, formalin, or if I'm worried about brook or anything like that, we use chloroquine phosphate.
Okay. I mean, is anything change in your opinion, and recently in terms of being able to acquire fish that we had been able to acquire in the past? I mean, I know Hawaii is closed and all that stuff, so that hasn't changed. Is anything else do you think opening up that could open up more possibilities for bringing in fish?
Well, you got the Solomon Islands, and that's all opening up, and they're bringing back like these huge purple monsters, acros.
Oh, acros, yeah.
Yeah.
Have you gotten your hands on any of those?
No, but Barnett promises me one very soon. And then there's all sorts of regions in the Philippines that they just opened up, and no one's been diving, and apparently there are some yellow tangs there, and pretty cool. So yeah, there's some new places opening up.
Nice. Okay. All right. Well, listen. Getting back to the other stuff going on in the lab. Let's talk about your quarantine holding tanks. And again, I've got a clip of that video that you guys have put out. So there's actually 4 quarantine holding tanks. What's an update on those tanks? What's happening there?
Now we're talking about the 4 coral ones?
Yeah,
or the
yeah.
4
coral ones. So these are the tanks you guys are collecting corals for the new tanks?
Right. So 2 of them are empty and ready when the new stuff arrives in the next 24 hours.
Okay.
So we got some in today from Candy Corals out of Canada. Tomorrow I'm expecting fish from him. And so 2 are empty. And then we got a big aqua delivery from a guy named Sam's Reef. Maybe you know him. He's on Instagram. He's going to be delivering us about 50 pieces of beautiful acros. And we'll have to put them in a tank and make sure the vet watches them and dipping them and cleaning them, giving them clean okay before they go in any other system.
So what tanks are you looking to fill up? I know we just talked about the drop down. Is that going to be one tank where some of those acros are going?
Yeah, so the 3 tanks would be the 2 280s.
Yep.
And one and a half of them are done. So I just need a half a tank of that.
Yep. And
the 900. And anything that doesn't go in the 900 because it's bigger or whatever, we'll save for the 2500.
All right, so the 2500, and I'm showing a shot of the 2500. So that's kind of like going through some phases right now, right? You guys are apparently still working on the sump on that thing and putting some tests.
Yes.
Yeah, talk to us about the 2500.
Well, the filter system we're using is a rotary drum filter, like a pond.
Yep.
And we had to have the right amount of water in the rotary drum, and then we had to have a washing system to clean the rotary drum, which is RO water. So we had to get the RO water to the drum and make it spin and clean. And right now, water is just sitting in the 2500, not going through the overflows, or the sump for that matter. And it's just a closed loop, and that closed loop looks like phytoplankton. Water is immensely green. You can't even see in it.
I saw the cyano in there too.
Oh yeah, that was wonderful too. Yeah.
So why? So basically, water is just cycling through the closed loop because you guys are still working on the sump.
Right. Exactly.
Gotcha.
And we're within. We decided to do the 280s and the 900 drop down first, and that's the only reason. Otherwise, the 900 wouldn't be done, but maybe my 2500 would.
So is that tank still cycling the 2,500 gallon?
It's been cycled.
Oh yeah.
It's just been cycled. We're just waiting for the drum filter and the sump.
So what do you guys have to do with the drum filter? Because I saw you were showing parts of it. You just got to plumb it in. Is that what you need to do?
You got to plumb it in, and the water's got to come in at the right speeds, so it doesn't dismantle or discombobulate that whole drum.
And why did you guys decide to go with a drum filter for that? Just because of the size of it?
We didn't want to use socks. We were afraid that the 50-foot drop, that the water flow would possibly wash the socks out of the holes, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And we were familiar with these drum filters through our koi system. We use several of them. And Jonathan's been using it in his store. So I guess we all just came to the mind, and why not?
I've never seen a drum filter in action. I mean, is that something that's easy to maintain? Is there a lot of cleaning that's involved? I mean, what's the whole concept behind a drum filter?
It's a roundish. I call it a drum, but each drum has very, 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 very fine mesh.
Okay.
And that mesh is basically your filter. And when that mesh gets dirty, along with other parts of the drum, it goes into a washdown cycle, and it takes RO water from a source. In this case, it's our 2,500 gallon big vats.
Yep.
And it sprays on very hard pressure and collects that dirty water, and that dirty water goes out the drain.
So is this a self-cleaning thing?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
No work involved.
As long as the self-cleaner is on, no work involved.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so is there a skimmer as part of that whole system?
Yep.
Yeah.
There's a skimmer. There's a skimmer, big bubble king skimmer down there. Yep.
Okay. So that's the mechanical filtration, is that drum filter, and you got the skimmer. What's the plan in terms of livestock in that tank, and also what's the plan? Well, let me back up. Lighting. What are you gonna light that tank with?
The Illumamagics.
Ah, okay. There you go. You're that's a so you got a lot of those. I'm sure that will be running over that tank.
12. 12 of them.
And that'll how tall is that tank? I mean, how deep is that tank?
To the bottom is like more than 4 feet.
Oh wow! So those lights will penetrate that far down, or are you guys just not worried about that in terms of putting acros that far down in the tank?
Right. So what's down right there right now are mushrooms, wilsonis, chalices, some bowerbankies, all things that are sort of lower light.
Yeah.
So I didn't change any lenses. I didn't do anything. I mean, the light down there is about 80, 90 par, and that's perfect for what I need.
And what about at the top? I mean, par-wise, what are you going to be getting at the top of that tank?
Well, we just put in that one acro and measured like 340, 350.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. Well, you know, I saw that tank in person, man, and that thing is going to be a kick-ass reef tank when it's all said and done. Did you guys do any use any live rock to help the microbiome in that tank?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes, we did.
Did that help in terms of the uglies and all that stuff? Did that also?
Yeah, yes, it did. Yes, it
Yeah.
did.
Where did you get the? Where's the live rock from? Is that Australian?
It's my buddy Jason Giannis. He gets it, the Australian.
Yeah. What these days?
Pristine aquariums.
Oh, okay. What are they getting per pound these days for the Australian live rock? I mean, is that still pretty pricey?
Well, I'll give you a COVID price landed, and now I'll give you what it probably goes for. But at one time, it was going for $40 a pound landed.
Ooh, ouch.
I think we do better now, maybe in the 26, 25, 26 range.
Uh-huh. That's that's reasonable. And is that coming in wet? I mean, are they delivering that overnight in newspaper, or is that coming submerged in water?
It's coming in wet newspaper.
Wet newspaper.
Wet newspaper and styrofoam.
And are you guys seen any significant die off of that, or is it pretty much making the journey okay?
I mean, the die off. Some of the die off is grass and like chloropa stuff,
Yeah.
and that kind of stuff, and sponges.
Yep.
But I can basically smell the rock and just tell whether or not
Yep.
it needs a week, 2 weeks, another month. So we put all these together in a big vat. We take some of our old stuff that was outside also, that was bleached. We put it all together. We mix it with some bacteria soup, and heat the water up and just let it sit there for another month or two. And then all the pieces are good.
Yeah. Well, yeah, the more diversity you could throw into a tank at the beginning, the better. So let's talk about the big tank, the 17,000 gallon tank. How is that going there, Andrew, with the that beautiful main display tank in your house?
I mean, it feels like we're pretty much on autopilot. There's not much room for coral anymore.
Yeah.
You would have to change out in order to switch. And I'd say the worst thing that happens is an acro or something doesn't start looking good. It starts to fade. Maybe we should check it for flatworms. We pull it out of the tank, and sure enough, there's some eggs on there. And it goes out into the quarantine system to get medicated, and we'll blow some fresh water in that hole and try to knock any adult, flatworm in the water column for the fish to eat. That's our biggest problem right now. It's not that big a problem, but maybe one out of every 3 or 4 pieces, we find eggs.
Yeah. And so how often are you guys going in there and shooting the fresh water? I think many people know that you basically, that's the way you kind of keep that pest under control, is going in there and shooting it with fresh RODI water, right? Kind of like in a jet almost.
Yeah, the temperature about the same, and we try to go underneath the colony with RO water and make a cocoon around the coral in RO water.
Right.
And if there are flatworms there, they will give up and go in the water column, and the butterflies and the wrasses will eat them in the water column.
So that's like that's kind of a thing that when they see you guys doing that, do they sort of follow?
Yes.
They're following them around.
Yes.
Yeah. I used to do that too years ago when I had that. I used to take a turkey baster and blow off certain corals that had them on there, and I had some clownfish that used to follow me around.
Right.
But
same idea.
And I mean, you got such a big variety of fish in there. Like I'm sure that's something. Do you have? I forgot, filefish in that tank.
No filefish.
Why not?
I don't know.
Not your thing?
No, but I would. But the wrasses and the butterflies, particularly the what are the butterflies? The Red Sea raccoons.
Uh-huh.
Those guys hang out just waiting for one flatworm to eat, just all day from the blowing.
Reef with Me is asking if you could change anything in the 17,000 gallon tank, what would it be if you can go back?
You know, I probably would have built a degassing chamber. So water basically dripping through 8 feet high plastic bioballs or Brentwood to get some more atmosphere. So my TGP is not high.
Yep.
That would be something that we were considering building and still are. But in the meantime, we changed some pipes around, and it seems to be on the borderline right now.
Gotcha.
Other than that, everything else was, you had to be there, right? You added something. You didn't like the lights. It wasn't enough violet, so I added violet lights. I wanted to add more halides and more spectrum. We added halide spectrum. We did some things with the flow and bought those middle abyss cannons. That I think you wouldn't have not known unless you tried the other ones out. So the answer is we did a lot of things, but I don't think we would have known them.
So Messiah Mitra is saying he would make it bigger. Would looking back, would you have made the tank bigger, or are you happy with the 17,000 gallons?
No, I'm very happy with the size.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean everybody. Yeah, we always want everybody wants to go bigger, but that's big. That's big. What talk to us about the coral feeding and all that stuff? You, I know you've been experimenting with the concoction from Alan Vo. Are you guys still using that concoction on the 17,000 gallon as well as the other tanks at Polo Reef?
Yes. Yes. I would say we use that concoction 2 to 3 times a week. 200 grams of it basically throughout the tank and all the other tanks in the back. And it's pretty tough to like you got to shake it up and loosen it up a little bit. It takes a good hour in order for the stuff to dissolve. And once it's dissolved and mixed and shaked, we just pour a little bit in each tank. With the 17,000 getting most of it, 170 grams, and the other 30 grams goes around the house.
And just to refresh our memories, you know, my understanding of the concoction is that essentially you're kind of supercharging bacteria, right? And the bacteria are what the corals would consume. So you're kind of like loading up the bacteria with all this pretty awesome stuff like aminos and you know, other kinds of coral foods and elements that would be nutritious for corals to take in. So you're kind of like loading up the bacteria and assuming that the corals would be consuming that bacteria.
Yeah, I think it's a mixture of coral food, like clam juice and clams and marine plankton and marine algae, and you know, I don't know what else he puts in it, but the bacteria is it's a probiotic, it's lactobacillus. I think there's two colonies of that in there. The skeptic and people say there's no evidence that coral take up probiotics. However, fish do eat it, and fish do poop it out. So, in my view, is it's good either way. I've seen very good feeding responses, particularly from the LPS side, really get blown up, fat, meaty, happy. My chalices look better. And that's one way we feed him. And the other way we feed him is we take 3 or 4 different strains of Phyto individually in the bottle, and we make our own solution. And then I take a little bit of Aquaforest food, a little bit of Fauna's food, a little bit of Benefits, a little bit of Reefroids, a little bit of squirt from, aminos and vitamins, and I'm shaking it all up, and I'll pour that in the tank also. And Gania Power we use. We use a lot of reef nutrition food in there, and we make our own concoction. It doesn't have the bacteria, but it has all the Phyto and all that good stuff for the corals.
So you mentioned LPS and what have you, seeing a good, their fleshier, positive response. What about SPS? Have you noticed any difference with the SPS?
I think maybe the polyps are hairier, the colors are better, but that's a test that we need to do. We'll really do it when we get the cubes up and we can rank it and so forth.
Yeah. So Sturgis Reef is wondering. Well, let me before I get to Sturgis Reef's question, what about the ICP testing? I know you guys are using multiple ICP testing, sources to dial that stuff in.
So we only use 2. We use Fauna and Oshimo. So they both go to Europe. The MS test from Oshimo allows me to get into a little bit more detail, where the Fauna test will say not detectable, but the Oshimo will give you a reading as low as it might be. Right.
So that kind of gets down to those levels that might be undetectable.
Right.
What?
Both give me fluoride. Now the Oshimo is actually also giving me my NDOC test, my organic content, and Claude tells me there's a way of doing it on the Fauna test. You just got to subtract 2 numbers or something like that. I haven't figured out how to do it yet, but my last one came back so low that I don't even want to try it again.
Andrew, are there any elements that you guys have been paying more attention to in the last year, versus other stuff? Like, have you started all right, you kind of paid, you're kind of seeing certain things with certain elements and well, maybe we should be dosing that sort of thing. Has that, popped up with you guys in terms of the 17,000 gallon tank and the other tanks at Polo?
Well, so like iodine really is variable depending on how much nori you're putting in a tank, how many times a day is that nori going in the tank. So iodine is one where it's very food specific. And, you know, I could dose something from as light as 30 mils or 40 mils, where other drugs are, other elements, I'm doing 300 to 500 mils at a time. So that's one tricky one. Also, selenium. There's plenty of foods and stuff that have selenium in them. So we got to be careful with that. But no, I think the fluoride and fluorine at the over one level, 1.2, 1.3, 1.4, 1.5, keeping, I would say molybdenum, keeping the molybdenum 12 and above, even up to 15. That seems to help the coral.
Yep.
As long as vanadium is above 1.5, that's good enough for us. Same thing with the zinc. Iron is a tricky one because I run UV and ozone, and it precipitates fast. So we have to use very extra heavy dose of iron, and we do it twice a day. And I'm just thrilled if it comes back, and I even have a reading whatsoever.
Yeah, I was going to say, I hardly ever get any readings for iron.
Right.
You know, and iodine is a tough one to kind of like lock in for me too. But ever since I started dosing fluoride, I've definitely noticed the blues popping more in acros. Is that something you guys have noticed?
Yes.
Yeah. You just got to be careful with that stuff. You know, overdosing is not a good thing.
Right.
Switching.
And then you know, there are certain corals like ganies, which you know, probably like manganese, and we make and if I have a gani in trouble or not doing well, we put them in a vat with MN, extra MN in it. And
that seems to help them?
Yeah, it does.
Oh, yeah. I've had an issue with one of my red ganies that I did a couple of baths in oxalic acid. Didn't help it. Maybe I should try the manganese trick.
Magnesium, vanadium, just to see what happens, and very low light.
Very low light. So speaking of lighting, man, what anything changed in terms of lighting in the 17,000 gallon tank? Are you guys still kind of you're using halides in that tank in combination with LEDs? Talk to us about anything new with lighting in the 17,000 gallon tank. Anything new at this point?
Well, we did install about a year ago. Orphic makes a 4-puck, 325 watt fixture called the Amazonias. And we converted all those 4 pucks to all violets. And so we have 1, 2, 3. I think we have 4 of them around the tank, and they're on a schedule, ramping up, you know, at its high point around noon, 80-85% violets. And then by 7:30, 8 o'clock, they're 10, 20, 30% left. And it just makes the blue coming out of the Maxspect fixture a lot more dimensional. And so we have 4 of those, and they're times 4 cannons each. So we have 16 violet cannons. And between, let's say, 8 p.m. and 9 p.m., the only lights in the tank are those and 2 Reef Brite strips, which are 80 inches long. And it's a very beautiful color. And I call it's the romance period. You go down and you see beautiful. I can't even film it. It's so beautiful.
Can't capture its true beauty on video.
Yeah, can't do it.
Yeah.
And then we're using those same lights, the Amazonas 325, up in the 2,500 gallon tank. instead of one being violet, in fact, instead of all four being violet, there are actually there's two blue channels. Let me just make sure. There's a blue channel, a violet channel, and two white channels, warm white and cool white. And we have 6 of those on the tank, the 2500, along with 2 400-watt metal halide radium 20Ks. And that's the majority of the light in the 2500.
In the 2500, yeah.
So, and we can run that tank, the white, we can run it really high and powerful, and it looks like, you know, a 10K tank, or we could make the white at 20, 30% and make a 14K tank, and we can highlight that even more with the radiums when they go on, and make that that water basically, what's the word I'm using? When it shines and it
fluoresces.
yeah,
Fluorescence.
yeah. You get the glitter lines, lines.
Yeah. What would you say, man, is your favorite look in terms of lighting? Are you a full spectrum guy? Do you like the blue light, or do you like that variety in terms of different times of the day?
The nicest light, I think, is the 1280 in the lab that's running 400 watt, 208 gallons, 400 watt, 20K radiums, halides, with 2 T5s and 1 Reef Brite 450 nanometer supplement bar and 1 UV Orphic supplement bar. And there you get the halides, you get the extra blues, you get the extra violets, and then you get the T5s, which are pretty broad band. And we use the Coral Plus or the Aqua Blue Special.
Yeah.
So it's more of a white light.
So it sounds like you get some.
That's my nicest looking light.
Sounds like you get some good pop with that combination.
Yes.
Yeah. And I'm assuming some pretty good growth and colors in the corals.
Yes.
Yeah. Nice. So I don't have a picture of this, but what's going on with the clam tank?
We're back in business.
Okay.
You know, the first few days they drop off and they don't stick, and you find them on the floor and they drop, and an urchin carries them around, and you lose a few that way. But once they stick on, we're running now. We're not running halides on the clam tank, Keith. We had a difficult time because that clam tank is like very shallow. I couldn't get the color spectrum that I wanted to get and the par I wanted to get without cooking the clams.
Oh.
So we went with 2 T5s and 4 radiums and 2 Reef Brites on the back and the front. And we're able to bring in the white lift in the whites and the reds with the T5.
Yeah.
And use the blues on the radions and also on those Reef Brites.
So how hardy have the clams been? You know, I mean, it seems like I used to have a lot of success keeping clams. I don't think I did anything special. I had them in halide, you know, T5
Yep.
combo light, you know, lit tanks. But I can't keep a clam alive. I haven't tried in the last few years, but I just really didn't have a lot of success. Have you noticed anything with that in terms of any changes in the longevity of clams?
Sure. The mantle will the first thing that starts to happen is the clam gets less reactive. Then you'll see the next day, instead of looking gapped out a little bit, you'll see the mantle start shriveling up and the clam not opening up. And then it's totally unreactive to you, and the mantle is completely shriveled up. At that point, you should throw the clam away. It's gone. We have a vet who is on call, who's now going to start looking at the differences between these clams and the healthy ones, and to see if it's bacterial or if it's parasitic, and try to figure out a way around this.
Yeah, they just seem to be a lot trickier these days to keep. I mean, I love clams, but it's
we've been feeding them Fido 2 to 3 times a day, and we're thinking that's been helping also.
Do you think the size of the clam matters? Do you think like the smaller clams are just going to be tougher for to keep in terms of longevity? Do you think the larger clams are going to have a better shot?
I think the clams that have the best shot are the races and what's the other one?
The gigas.
The gigas and mid-size in those.
Yeah.
And then the Crocea and then the Maxima.
Have you guys picked up any of those teardrop Maximas that have been kind of filtering back into the marketplace? I know years and years ago there was like a few of those that circulated and they were awesome.
Yeah, we have not this time around, but I would love to.
A blue teardrop clam is just to me like about as good as it gets, almost as good as a blue squammy.
Yeah, yep, we have a few of those.
Yeah. I miss those things. Let me thank a couple of people in terms of the super chats. I don't think I thanked Rob Alexander. Thank you, Rob. I really appreciate that super chat. And Rob, upstate New York, thank you, man. Always pleasure. Comments. Always enjoy your guest, Keith. Thank you, Andrew, for sharing your reef knowledge and the passion we all share. Appreciate that, Rob. Andrew, what about so you don't have just reef tanks, man. You got some pretty incredible koi ponds, or one incredible koi pond and plans for more. You want to give us an update on the current koi pond and what you are planning for the future?
Yeah, so we built 2 koi ponds, and I built them for beauty and for aesthetics and for lighting and waterfalls and people were wanting me to use bottom drains, and we use bottom drains. But at the end of the day, the pond itself was in a bowl, essentially, and the koi pond should really be a pool with vertical walls, almost gunite, fiberglass. You get a lot more gallons that way. The koi do a lot better in a huge rectangle. So we are going to be building 2 new koi ponds in the backyard.
I'm showing a picture of the mock-up of the 2 ponds.
You had that?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm looking for it now. You didn't show it yet. Did you yet?
I did. It gets about 20 seconds or so, and it'll come through.
Okay. In any event, one will be 35 by 18, and the other one will be, there they are. And the other one was the smaller one where we get new koi and we can quarantine koi in here. Frankly, our experience has been that flukes and bugs are more difficult with flukes, with koi than marine fish.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I think it's that big, thick slime coat that doesn't allow the med sometimes to get to the animal, to get to the pest. And so a lot of times you have to potassium permanganate the water first to take the slime off, then treat it with fenbendazole or flubendazole, hit it again a few days later, and you got to constantly be scraping the fish.
Can they, are they resilient? Can they handle that sort of scraping?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No problem.
Yeah. Wow, that's a so you basically ran out of room in the current koi pond.
Ran out of room, and they rather not have me take home the champions, the competitors, the ones that go to tournaments in a natural stone pond, as opposed to an 18-inch sitting wall that's completely smooth.
Uh-huh. So how do you set those? I mean, you know, obviously they're big tanks and all that sort of thing. You know, what kind of structure do you put into those tanks? I mean, is there like some sort of rubble, rock structure, sand in those things? No.
No, it's very similar to building a pool. You build it with iron rod, but waterproof iron rod coated with zinc or something. You do a monolithic pour, a concrete pour down usually 5-6 feet. You either put waterproofing agent in the cement, or you then coat the cement with a thin layer of fiberglass. And then over the fiberglass, there's a black gel coating that you use, that you get over the fiberglass. So the fiberglass becomes your insulator, and the gel coat essentially becomes your gunite in the pool.
Gotcha. And in terms of, like, you know, water temperature, what are the koi like, you know, and how do you maintain that? I mean, you live in the New York area, you know, it gets can get cold in the wintertime. How hard is it to kind of maintain a constant temperature?
So once a month, we allow it to go down to 50 degrees, and we don't feed our fish that month. And that's the month that a lot of the fish are carrying eggs anyway, and you don't want them to release those eggs in the water. So by keeping the water at 50 and not feeding the fish, they absorb those eggs themselves.
Okay.
And then after that month, you send the heater back to 58 to 60 again. You start feeding them a balanced food, some wheat germ. But and then as you get into the spring and June and the water starts heating up, it's 68 into the 70s, you can start feeding grow food again, especially in the summertime in mid 70s. We're feeding pellets, Hikari, Japanese grow pellets 4 times a day, 5 times a day. And that's the way we do it. And we cover the pond when it reaches in the 60s, so the water, the heat doesn't escape. It's like a big giant bubble. And in this particular situation, we'll have brick walls up that we will be able to cover in a skylight glass fixture ceiling, and use the brick as footings and build a permanent structure that doesn't need to go up and down when the winter's over.
Gotcha. Todd from Champion Lighting and Supply is wondering, assuming the smooth pool harbors less parasites and disease, is that just less surface area for that stuff to take hold?
Yes, yeah, because the vinyl, I guess the vinyl bottom, there could be a lot of folds and a lot of weird things happening, and bacteria can get in there.
What about birds of prey? Is that ever an issue that they're picking stuff off?
Not with these size.
No.
No.
Too big.
Yeah. Wait. These are the average size is 3 feet.
Holy crap! So you don't have any bald eagles around that might want to take a stab at them?
Not yet.
Not out of the realm of possibility, right?
We have a kite that blocks the sun, that blocks birds from seeing the water from the air.
Okay.
And then we have an 18-inch sitting wall, which blocks, other varmints like raccoons from doing it.
Yeah.
And so far, there's so much work and plumbers and electricians and cars that come from 6:30 in the morning on. The driveway is extremely busy, and the birds don't really
don't dig that.
Right, they don't dig the traffic.
So Blue Reaver's wondering when is Andrew setting up the shark tank? Is that no, not happening?
There's no room for a shark tank, and the thing I would be considering would be like a freshwater discus, Amazon.
Oh, cool.
Neon tetra planted tank. That'd be
nice.
Yeah,
that's right. That's kind of like what's sort of missing.
Yeah.
And
they get a lot of views.
Yeah, I'm right. I mean, freshwater is a hell of a lot more popular than saltwater, right? In terms of people that are in that part of the hobby, and also in terms of YouTube. I forgot to ask this one question, man, and then I'll let you go because I know you got a lot going on, Andrew. And that's I forgot to ask this question from Sturgis Reef about ammonia dosing. Are you guys doing that at all? Have you ventured into that area?
I mean, we start a cycle with ammonia chloride, and but no, I have always felt that we have enough fish, and and Yeltsin feeds these fish 2 noris a day and 4 to 5 frozen a day. That the extra ammonia dose, I get enough now. Would I try it in another tank, a lightly stocked tank where there's less fish? Would I dose ammonium bicarb? Maybe I would. I have not tried it to date.
Yeah. I hear you, man. If it's not broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
You know? All right, Andrew, man, anything else you wanted to touch on? You want to do any update in terms of philanthropy or any of those efforts ongoing? Anything we missed talking about tonight you wanted to mention?
Let's see what's going on. Besides doing a lot of the sponsoring at these events, the next big thing will be at 225 children's hospitals that pediatric cancer.
Mm-hmm.
And we are trying to hire a marketing agency, so that maybe we can get a guest celeb that the kids know.
Cool.
And you would think between ocean education and kids with cancer, there ought to be pro bono. There ought to be celebs that want to do it.
Yeah.
And it should be like, hey kids, this is The Rock, and these videos are really important, and have fun watching them. They don't need to. They just need to introduce them. So we're going through that now. Who do the kids know? How do we get to these people in the video?
Yep.
And there are plenty of people that do ocean conservation.
Yep.
There are plenty of celebrities that have been touched by cancer. The third one, though, will the kids know them, is sort of difficult.
Yep.
So that's on the agenda.
Sturgis Reef says, yeah, here, John, Senna does a lot with children's hospitals. So, yeah, there's a number of them out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're all over the country. The name of the charity is Sunrise. We actually run summer camps for kids with cancer and their family and their siblings for free. But the other part of it is we visit the hospitals and cheer them up with these big trunks. And in the trunks live the 360 goggles. And the kids get to choose the goggles while they're in infusion. And someone's watching what they're watching on an iPad, et cetera, et cetera. And then there's a whole bunch of hospitals we don't physically go into, but we have our programming go virtual in. And when you add up all of those hospitals, it's like 225 hospitals from the United States. And so it's a pretty big deal, treating 25,000 kids.
It's incredible, man. So, Andrew, how can people watching this stream or that are going to be watching on the replay, how can they help? I mean, obviously, go to the Polo Reef YouTube channel, subscribe there, and follow them on Instagram. But how else can people help? I mean, you guys really do an incredible thing for the hobby in terms of all the research that you're doing, but also all the things you're doing in terms of the charity work and also putting out all this this knowledge, right, to help educate people.
Yeah, I think,
how can people help?
I think anybody that has a direct connection to a I'll throw a few names out, right? Like The Rock, Leonardo DiCaprio, Jennifer Aniston, the Asian guy, what's his name, that plays he plays on the movies with the tiger. They get lost. They're always getting lost in Las Vegas.
Oh.
You know
I know
what
what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. So we need celebrities to make this big, and I'd love to do it not paying or not going through a marketing agency.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And there are plenty of people that know people.
Right, the guy from The Hangover.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
What's that actor's name? Somebody knows and drop it into the chat.
Yeah, Fred or somebody. I think his name is.
Yeah. Love that act. Oh, Ken Jeong.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
That's it.
Ken Jeong.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. That's a possibility. But you know, these are all, every agency has their people, and they tend to go through creative artists, and you got to pay the agent fee. I was trying to go through the back door and like.
Yeah. All right, folks. So if
Oh,
you know
I
any
this
celebs,
person, yeah, I know this person and this place, and this is an incredible charity. Will you work with them for 20 minutes introducing the videos?
Tracy Morgan's like big into fish tanks. What about him?
I don't think the kids know him.
The kids don't know him.
No.
Yeah, I think that guy's hilarious.
Yeah, kids don't know him.
Yeah, I hear you. All right, well, listen, Andrew, man, thank you so much for taking the time again tonight to join us. I know you got a lot going on there. You got a big trip to prep for, so good luck with that. Have an awesome time.
Had the Haitian reef tank coming.
Oh, the Haitian live rock?
Yeah.
Actually, that tank has turned around since I got rid of the Carib Sea life rock.
Like right away?
Pretty damn quickly. You know, after I made the swap, I was expecting this very big ugly phase because the Haitian live rock was in my cryptic sump for a couple of years and wasn't getting any light at all.
Right.
So I just assumed, like, as soon as I put it in the display tank. Of course, I ramped the lights back down to like 10%, and I raised them 10% every week for like 8 weeks.
Right.
And then every week I would chuck a couple of pieces of the Carib Sea life rock out of the cryptic sump.
Right.
And so let me tell you, man, the cyano was there's still a little bit there, but I'm knocking on wood here.
You put sand in already?
No sand. I'm not doing sand. I'm not doing sand. So I'm waiting on some new lights from GHL. And I'm going to be away next week.
A lot of new lights coming, by the way, Keith.
And you like anything in particular that's intriguing?
I've just been told. I've seen one or two. I know Coral View. In combination with Tulio has a light that gets very bright. Looks like a brick. I know that Julian Sprung is partnering with someone also. Yeah. And I don't know. People continue to like lights like Reef Eyes.
Yeah.
The Lures that we have here. People like them, although they get mixed opinions. I just think, I mean, even who's the guy that's building these things now? There's a guy out there, I think he calls himself Atlas or I forget the name. It's basically a huge aluminum reflector, and he puts his own diodes in, and it resembles an Ushio 14K hairlight bulb.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I'm trying to look them up on Instagram here. I think it'll come to me. What about reef breeders? Have you ever tried those? I've heard great things about reef breeders.
No, I never tried them.
Friend Dong uses reef breeders, loves them. You know Dong.
Yep.
Dongzo. Yeah. But no, all my frag tanks. Andrew, I stopped selling frags online like months ago, so now I've got a bunch of mini colonies. So if you guys need any acros in the the new tanks, then hit me up, because I got some frickin' I got a problem going on here, and I'm gonna go to a frag swap at Boston Reefer Society in November. But
so we're gonna go too.
Oh, good, cool. Cool.
So maybe that's where I'll swap with you.
Yeah, cool. Awesome. Yes, Quantum, Champion Lighting Supplies.
That's it.
Yeah, Quantum or Quanta.
Yeah, Quanta.
Thanks, Todd.
Quanta.
Yeah.
I mean, there's all sorts of stuff going on in lights. I mean, you know, I think they all could do the job. I mean, and by the way, radions still work. It's just that, you know, sometimes you come down in the middle of the night and there's something blaring. There seems to be ghosts sometimes in there.
Well, your Patty just put a comment on there about metal halides. Let's bring back metal halides. I mean, you're using them. I love them. You can't go wrong with them.
I honestly, today when I was looking at those 280 twins, I almost took all the LEDs off one of them and put halides on the other.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's because it's just something about that light that you can't. It doesn't look like it. It's just spectacular.
Yeah. I love the pop on the 400 watt 20K iridiums.
Yeah.
Can't beat that.
And if you mix them with T5s and other supplemental bulbs, unbelievable.
An unbelievable combination. You know.
Yeah, and you only need the halides on, I don't know, 4 to 6 hours a day. We run them from like 10:30 or 11 to 4. That's it.
Rich Colombo says, "Yeah, I need a source for HQI ballast. Such a pain trying to fix them. I've got a couple of magnetic ballasts that I've got sitting on the floor that I don't use anymore, and they just crap out on me. But then after a while, Tulio.
What about Reef Brite? He does a bunch of HQI ballast.
He's doing magnetic now, right?
Yeah.
There you go, Rich. Hit up Tulio.
Reef Brite, yeah.
Reef Brite. All right, Andrew, man. Well, listen, thanks again for taking the time.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
And I want to thank the sponsors one more time. I want to thank you and Polo Reef. Make sure to check out Polo Reef's new YouTube video that drops this Friday in the 4th episode of the Polo Summer Relaxation Series. Polo Reef gives us a moment to relax to the viewing of stunning fish close-ups, highlighting the vast collection of rare and beautiful reef fish housed at Polo. Make sure to subscribe to their YouTube channel at Polo Reef for video drop notifications. Champion Lighting and Supply, besides being a place for hobbyists to purchase saltwater aquarium supplies online, Champion Lighting is also a wholesale distributor for many popular brands. If you own an aquarium store or an aquarium service company, contact Champion Lighting through their website at championlighting.com to set up a wholesale account. Todd and his crew will be at Reef Stock Chattanooga on August 24th and 25th, so stop by and say hello. Fauna Marin, I do use the Fauna Marin Reef ICP Total Test Kit, which gives a quick, accurate, and easy overview of over 90 water values in reef aquariums, from macro elements to trace elements and pollutants. You get a complete overview with corresponding dosage and action recommendations. I'm now a certified Fauna Marin ICP test advisor, so if you want help interpreting results, then select ReefBum. You can also purchase the ICP test kits as well as other Fauna Marin products at reefbum.com.
Hey, Keith.
Yeah.
Did he teach you how to get the proper NDOC, your carbon?
Yeah, we've been going back and forth on that one, so there is a way to calculate that, and according to Claude, it will be eventually soon on those ICP test results. So yeah.
I know. Oshimo is doing it now.
Yep.
I scored very well.
Nice. Yeah. No, people have been asking about that. A big thank you to Paul, who is the moderator as well as the president of the Boston Reefer Society. Please join and support your local reefing clubs. They are so important to this hobby. Also want to let you know that all episodes of Rappin With ReefBum are available as podcasts on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, and Amazon. My next Rappin With ReefBum live stream will be on Tuesday, August 13th. I'm off next week. My guest will be coral farming pioneer Vincent Chalias. So that's going to be a great episode. We're going to be talking about some rare corals that he's been diving over and collecting. Please check that out. You can check out the full upcoming schedule of guests on reefbum.com under the YouTube section. Until next time, be safe and be well. Later.
I got